Hello, and welcome to Space Yapper 77. In this video, we will be taking a look at some of the coolest upcoming space missions. Luckily for us space enjoyers, there are quite a few interesting ones to look at in the coming years. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. Now let's begin. I've picked 5 space missions that I'm especially excited about. But if your favorite didn't make the list, please let me know in the comments.
The last one is my favorite, so stick around.
First up, we have a cool one. It's the Europa Clipper mission, which actually already launched on October 14th, 2024 on a Falcon Heavy rocket and is set to arrive at Europa and the Jovian system in April 2030, where it will conduct 49 flybys of Europa. Europa is the 6th largest moon in our solar system, and previous flybys have led us to believe that giant saltwater oceans containing twice as much water as all oceans on Earth combined exist underneath the icy surface. These oceans could theoretically contain life, which is very exciting. Determining if this is true or not is the main objective of the mission. The Europa Clipper spacecraft is larger than any previous spacecraft for NASA planetary missions, spanning more than 100 feet or 30.5 meters. This allows for 9 highly advanced pieces of science equipment to be fitted on board. I assume you didn't click on this video to hear some AI voice listing a bunch of equipment with silly names though. So instead of that, I got ChatGPT to summarize the most important functionalities. The Europa Clipper mission is designed to investigate the potential habitability of Jupiter's moon Europa by thoroughly examining its surface, atmosphere, and subsurface. Its suite of scientific instruments will capture high-resolution images, map the surface composition and thermal properties, analyze the atmosphere and potential plumes, probe the internal structure and ice shell thickness, and search for signs of a subsurface ocean and its chemistry. Together, these capabilities aim to determine if Europa could support life. In conclusion, Europa Clipper is a giant flying space lab that hopefully will reveal if anything fishy or alien is going on beneath Europa's crust. Secondly, we have a really cool one. Staying in the Jovian system, we will now take a look at ESA's Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, aka JUICE. Like the Europa Clipper, JUICE already started its journey, as it launched April 14th, 2023 on an Ariane 5 rocket, and is expected to arrive in July 2031. Here it primarily will study Ganymede, but also do flybys and studies of Europa and Callisto. Jupiter itself will also be surveyed. All 3 of the moons are thought to have saltwater oceans underneath their icy crusts. While the Europa Clipper's main focus is determining the habitability of Europa, JUICE is taking a more overall approach, like characterization of the ocean layers, study of the physical properties of the icy crust, and characterization of the internal mass distribution. JUICE will of course also look for signs of life, but just not as focused. Basically, instead of searching for life outright, JUICE is exploring what makes a world habitable. After conducting multiple flybys of all 3 moons in Jupiter's orbit, JUICE will be inserted in a polar orbit around Ganymede, where it will conduct even more experiments and it eventually crash. Ganymede is actually the only moon in our solar system that generates a magnetic field, which makes it quite interesting. Also, JUICE will be the first probe ever to orbit a moon other than our own. Third, we surprisingly have a very cool one. Artemis 3. This is a mission with the ambitious goal of landing humans on our moon's surface again for the first time since 1972. With Artemis 1 already having flown and Artemis 2 expected to take 4 astronauts for a trip around the moon in 2026, early estimates for Artemis 3 sits around mid-2027. When the mission finally happens, 4 astronauts will launch in NASA's Orion capsule carried to low Earth orbit by the Space Launch System, SLS. When they arrive in lunar orbit after traveling roughly 240,000 miles, 2 of the astronauts will be transferred to a special SpaceX Starship lunar lander variant, and they will land on the moon's south pole. Here they will stay for a week, conducting science experiments and collecting samples. After that, they will return to the Orion capsule, and the 4 astronauts will return to Earth, splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. While this mission in itself is very interesting, I think what it leads up to is even better. As of 2025, missions all the way up to Artemis 10 have been discussed. These missions plan to establish a permanent habitat on the moon's surface, which in my opinion at least have to be in the top 11 coolest things ever. Imagine if we one day will be able to see city lights on the moon at night. Mission number 4 is something very cool. Here we are talking about NASA and ESA's Mars Sample Return mission, which, as the name suggests, will return surface material from Mars back to Earth. This has never been done before and could therefore lead to new discoveries about Mars and its past. The mission is still in its planning stage, and a launch date has therefore not been scheduled yet. Even though this is the case, the samples which will be returned are actually already being collected as we speak. This is being done by the Perseverance rover in the Jezero crater. When the actual return mission happens, a lander will land near the rover, and the samples will be transferred to the return vehicle, which will then perform one of the coolest launch procedures I think I have ever seen. We have now reached the last one, which in my opinion is the coolest one. It's the Dragonfly mission. Initially, this concept feels like something that won't happen for at least 50 years. But no, NASA is launching a car-sized nuclear-powered octocopter to Saturn's moon, Titan, in 2028. When Dragonfly arrives in 2034, it will be carrying the most expansive suite of science instruments ever dispatched to another celestial body. On top of that, Titan's low gravity and dense atmosphere allows Dragonfly to cover more than 50 miles of ground. This will allow it to collect and return data that could be groundbreaking in our understanding of life in the universe. Titan is my favorite moon in our solar system, so I might be biased when it comes to this mission. But the idea of this behemoth flying around on an alien moon is just so damn awesome. Also, a Dragonfly can ascend to an altitude of 4 kilometers, which I hope will allow for some fantastic photos of Titan's carbohydro lakes. Guys, we have now reached the end of this video, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. Bye.